Okay, I'm going to share a link with you to the actual process of creating a virtual drive. But for anybody who knows Windows, you come to your disk partition, you right click and you then repartition it and create a section, and then you can create a dual boot up. When you boot up, you boot into two different operating systems. But that is like shutting off your hard drive, and it's not that much control you have over. I found this video, which I'll share with you, to give you a brilliant way of doing it. And ultimately, let me just open it up here. Ultimately, it lands up in this case here. I've got on my C drive. I've created a folder. In the tutorial, you'll see they recommend, you can name it anything else, but this VHDX, it's a virtual hard drive. Okay. The one thing that I can just tell you, which is not mentioned on that instruction video, is do not give spaces in between the names. I did that in the first one, and then I was trying to configure it, and the configuration, because you work through a DOS prompt, wasn't picking up the space, and I was trying to use all other characters in between. So I redid it and made sure that whatever you give the name, it will have a sort of full name. But here's the cool thing. This is a 50 gig virtual hard drive. It's in one file, similar to how you do it when you're working with virtual disks on, was it VMware and all those sort of stuff. You have that actual ecosystem, and inside is a single file. Here you're using Windows' own built-in setup. Now, the last time I tried a Windows setup like this, I had to go into my BIOS and click there. This has got nothing to do with that. It's straightforward. I followed this guy's instructions, and it's to the T. And what this gives you the ability to, if you want to remove it, it's removing one file. Okay, but I'll show you when we boot up, it is an independent drive. Now, to get it onto a new installation, you've got to look online for an ISO file of Windows and put it on a USB stick. You if you don't know how to do that, just check up on some other channels. But you get a Windows installation, and the process here shows that you'll boot up, and then you'll boot up from that USB. Again, there's that limit to the amount of technology or explanations we can give in a system. This is to focus on the ability to use that unique virtual drive setup. And I've done it, and what I have now, and specifically I'm doing is, you can put any other program on it, but specifically on this drive, I have the Gig Performer. Reason I wanted to do that is, and this is the core of the video, is I have Gig Performer here. I'm running it, and it runs perfectly well. It's amazing how it just doesn't use all that major resources, and I've got keyscapes and the works in there. But I wanted to have a setup that when I go and play somewhere, I want to be able to have a dedicated computer to do that. Now, falling short of buying another computer, which is unnecessary expense, creating any virtual drive, hard drive setup would be a major nightmare, because the virtual environment, like VMware would have to use, or VirtualBox will have to use some of the resources and allocate some to your machine. The way we're doing it here now, following that instructions, creating this virtual drive, gives you the option of having it totally dedicated. So let me show you what I have. It's a totally dedicated environment to work in, and I basically labeled it all with Gig Performer stuff. The other thing that I care to mention is, because we're creating this virtual disk, what I do not do is I do not do installations of things like keyscapes fully into the virtual disk, because you'll just be wasting space. So what I do is I link up the keyscapes that's on my major computer. I just create, you could look up some tutorials on that, but I create a Steam folder. So I go and create a separate Steam folder and install it in there, because the installation is very small. It's the library that's big. And then from the installation, I reference the library on the core, in the core library on the main computer, so I don't fill up the virtual computer space. Okay, so yeah, let's see how this all looks, and it's quite brilliant. So again, it might be a bit of a just a high level on this, but the link, I'm going to put it down in the description, but the link to this video is the key for setting your one up like you want to. Okay, let's see when we restart the computer. This is what happens. You'll have two options. One is the original computer we're working on, and the other one is the virtual one that we've created after we've followed all the instructions on how this gets done. Okay, so you'll check how it loads up now. So if I go out on a gig, this is what I would set up. I'd go set up my thing like this. Okay, so you see I've called that Gig Performer. Just press enter on that. The other one, if I had to go, would go back to the normal one. And this is how it comes up. I press enter because I've got a password on mine, and then fill in the password, and this will take me to the full virtual machine. As I mentioned, I have disabled as many things as I can. So if I want to install any plugins here, I'd rather do it on the other machine. I download it, bring it here, and then get the shared folder and install it from there. So that's it. This is where when you're going, and this is totally dedicated to Gig Performer on this machine. Runs all well. There we go. Okay, that's it. And that's Gig Performer running on the virtual machine. Smooth and solid. Really nice. So I'm just opening up Keyscape so you can see it functioning there. Works really beautifully. Okay, cool. Hopefully that gets you excited. And as I end the clip, I will put the link on here also, and then you can go visit it and check how that all operates. Have a fantastic day. Be blessed and happy gig performing.